What's going on YouTube? Earth Power here with CVH.
How's it going, everybody?
We have a really exciting deck profile for you today. Light Water Nature, Alcadeias. Version, I guess 2.0 if you're considering Pegasus as the version 1.0.
I am not, but I
Okay,
appreciate the nod to our season one
Alcadeias.
disaster.
Yeah, absolutely. You say disaster. That was a holy all away from making top four.
Oh god, it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Alcadeias, it's a light water nature deck. We're doing take two, so I'm going to repeat myself from the take they didn't hear. But I was saying it's funny how in the olden days of like 2005, when we were building Alcadeias decks, they were very clunky and just full of huge angel commands that you would then try to evolve on next turn. Whereas this deck takes a much more flexible, low to the ground mana curve approach, just sort of being a light water nature tempo deck that can, play the early game, play for the board, have defensive options against rush, and also, pressure the opponent with cards like Ularus and Rias to create a bunch of advantage, and also just have Alcadeias as a potential win the game button against decks like Foul Forbos and Mana Burn.
Yeah, it's such a unique tempo deck, and shout outs to How Far, so we can put his name out there. He ended up winning the IDC championship this year with this version, with the exception being that the changes there is that they play with 4 Soulswap. So we ended up taking out 2 for the third Emeral and the Syforce or Elemental. But this deck has just all the things you would want in a tempo deck while still being able to do them even under Alcadeias. The allure of this deck is having Aqua Surfer and Miraculous Snare as your defensive cards and tempo cards. Even with Alcadeias on the board, you can still fight for the board um, under those cards because they're not limited by Alcadeias' effect. The only card that's locking down for you is Soulswap, and typically when Alcadeias is on board, it's usually because you use the Soulswap or two to get yourself there. And one of the main reasons I think Syforce made its way in here, at least for me, you gave me a little bit of a grief for it, but Valkyr and Eris, while also being 5 drops, can't attack. Syforce can not only attack, it provides the blocker, but it lets you cycle the Holy All, the Miraculous Snare, the Soul Swap, if the game ends up going a little bit longer than you'd like it to.
Yeah, I mean, the deck's real standouts here are the 5 cost creatures, I think. Ularus is the best bait for Alcadeias, bar none. Even
Absolutely.
without Alcadeias, it's a pretty huge body. It even gets over Blizzard of Spears, and it allows you, in no matter what matchup you're in, to be aggressive and be that tempo deck without any of the risk. This deck might miss an attack when it's scared to hit an Aqua Surfer, but now you can just flip a couple shields over and give your opponent like a Bronze Arm Tribe or something instead, something that's totally useless for them.
Yeah.
Mysterios is just the thing that makes this deck able to sustain itself as the game goes long. And in the IDC meta, where you can play 4 Soul Swaps, the Poisonous Mushroom into Soul Swap out a turn 3 Mysterios is a very real play that a lot of decks just can't really answer super effectively. We
Yeah,
only get to
and
do Soul
that
Swaps, but it's still really powerful.
Yeah, of course, and that's poisonous mushroom. I think is a was a highly underlooked card on this channel for a long, long time, and you guys are starting to see it in a lot more of these decks as we post these profiles. I'm becoming a big fan, and I
Hmm.
like one of the decks coming next week that you guys will see this card in in a very unique position. So, poisonous mushroom MVP does everything you want it to do in this deck, especially because once you slam Alcadeias, essentially you're shutting the game down. You're saying, "Hey, the game's ending on my terms, and here we go."
Yeah,
So,
usually in
leave a
your
like,
favor
guys.
though.
Yeah, typically, yeah. Leave a like, guys. Let us know what you think in the comments below. I know you were missing Pegasus this time around, but it's gonna be okay. Alcadeias is the MVP, and it definitely was in season one. So, leave a like, comment down below. Let us know what you think, and until next time, guys. See ya. Peace.
Each.